It'd be so helpful. Eric, can you unmute? Can you share your experience as a relearner? And I'm also going to change your screen view because that was the greatest term when you called yourself a relearner.
Well, yeah, I had a pretty busy job. They were long hours and really mentally taxing for my whole career. And when I finally retired, I actually came into possession of a beautiful old piano. And I thought to myself, can I get back to where I was when I was 16, 17? And if so, then I'll put some money into restoring this piano. So I spent a year just going through my old sheet music and realized that stuff does come back, but also your mistakes come back.
Yeah.
Uh, so I realized but after about a year, I realized I needed a teacher. And I looked around, and fortunately, in my community, Lisa was right there, and that got me on the right track. So uh, she's been giving me, one layer at a time, and trying not to push my approach too aggressively, but to master each of the layers, so the next layer will be easier. And I got some layers here today also on pedaling.
Yeah.
Uh, we, I haven't spent much on pedaling. I just developed habits when I was 17, and they weren't even informed habits. They were just habits.
That's
So,
very
yeah,
common. So it's very common to
absolutely.
have, right, uninformed habits that you don't know you're doing are, I mean, I'm not saying you, Eric, but in general, are poor
Right.
practice habits. And that is the number one thing that slows any pianist down. So I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah.
No, and what I like about your teaching is that you point out these things, and then let's rewind a little bit and then go through it again. And then the but is one of those layers that,
Right.
you
And
know,
the
we put,
but, always comes down to this. How can I make this easier? And
right.
that's what the Piano Ninja tricks are about. Thank you so much, Eric, for sharing that. That's what they're about. It's removing. That's why I can make the promise you can learn twice as much in half the time with these Piano Ninja tricks. Because what is slowing you down, I'm not you, Eric, but I'm talking in general, what is slowing so many pianists down is practicing the poor habits first and then trying to undo them. Although some of
Right.
you, one doesn't try and undo because they don't know they have them. Trying to undo them takes more time. That's oftentimes when, and I had met Eric first as a piano student before I even had started the Piano Ninja Tricksters Club, and he's a founding member of the club. So then he's excelled even faster. So because then it's so great we speak the same language in our lessons, but also when you're when you start with all good habits, that's how you excel faster, sooner. So fantastic. Um, Emma, I know you're on the younger side of our members, and piano is so important to you. And I'm wondering, maybe you've been in 7, 8 months or something like that. So I'm wondering if you can share your experience of in the club so far.
Yeah, well, I really like how Lisa has a great way of explaining things in a way that I can understand really easily. And I really appreciate how in the Tricksters Club, she shares things that, like you were saying, bad habits I didn't know that I had. Like, for example, not using quick reflex motion. And so you always have to be ahead of where you are. For me, that was like, oh, I had no idea I even needed to do that. So just some light bulb moments like that have really been helpful
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
not only practicing better, but just learning the music faster and not having to fight it so much. Yeah.
Right. And I think I remember you saying now you're performing more. You're recording videos now that you weren't before.
I actually haven't recorded in a while because I've been working on the same pieces for a while.
Okay, okay. But I know when
But
you
yes,
recorded the Nocturne, you were like, wow, I recorded a Nocturne. I learned in 2 months. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Great. Cool. Susan, anything you want to share about being a piano ninja trickster? And by the
Um,
way, when you come into the club, that's what you're called. You're a trickster.
the the most helpful thing, and the thing I remember through all of the studying the videos, is that I need to look ahead to where I'm going and
Right.
get my hands there faster. And that Bach prelude I still play today because it's a reminder that I can't just do one measure. I need to look at the next measure where I'm going. Because otherwise I end at that measure and it's like, oh, what do I do now? I'm looking at the music. So that was really the most helpful tip for me, is looking ahead and planning ahead.
Yeah. And if I recall, are you also, and Erica, I'm going to use your term because I just love it so much. Are you a relearner?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
it's been
also,
painful. It's been
yeah, yeah,
painful.
yeah. Fantastic. I love
I
that
know
term,
how,
relearner.
I know how the pieces are supposed to sound, and I've started to recognize through you that as an adult relearner, you know how it's supposed to sound and that's what you're aiming for, but sometimes it's too much. It's too, you're not ready for that move yet. And
Right.
so I've had to readjust my goal in thinking, oh, I can play it like that, and I'll listen to it on YouTube or whatever, and I'll even play it and try to catch up. And there's no way. It's
Right.
impossible.
Right.
So I'm trying to simmer down my goals to my ability level at this point.
Which will excel you faster than anything else. Because what slows pianists down is the two biggest things I would say is the poor practice habits and then having to get rid of them, and also learning music that's way too ahead of one's level, and then
Yep.
because then one would accrue poor practice habits without knowing
Yeah.
it pretty quickly.
Yes. So I have what I think is a good mix. I have some easier pieces, like the Bach prelude,
Uh-huh.
where the notes are manageable. And I'm still working on that Chopin in C sharp minor. I've almost got it ready to go. And my goal is to have that ready by the summer. It's that last page I've had to work on, but
Right.
it's coming
Yeah.
finally. And I've been
Fantastic.
doing
And sometimes
it's
it
like,
feels like I'm working and I'm working and it's like this is going and it's like, why isn't it getting, and then all of a sudden it's like, that was easy. How'd that happen overnight?
yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. And
So
then
I
for
hope
the
to
next
have that.
level, then your floor becomes your ceiling again. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Adam, are you free to unmute and share your founding member? And you have excelled so fast. Like, tell me what's the secret? How have you done it?
Sure. So, I want to actually backtrack a little bit before I met Lisa. And so I hadn't improved hardly at all before I met Lisa, and I had been playing piano for 8 to 9 years before I met her. And, in those 8 to 9 years, I only made it to an intermediate level. And it was just a couple months before I met her, and I was playing pieces that were just way above my level. And within 3 years of meeting Lisa, I made it to a pretty advanced level. And the only way that I was able to do that was because I took one ninja trick at a time. And I kept practicing that one at a time until it became a permanent habit. And it's it's so easy in life to think that you can just multitask, because with other areas you can do multiple things at once. But with the piano ninja tricks, if you're just at the beginning of learning them, you just want to do one at a time. So that's what I did. And it's it really helped my playing to become much more intentional, because before that I would really only play my pieces but not actually know how to practice. So uh, they really just helped me to stay intentional and make real improvements every practice session, instead of just mindlessly playing through my pieces. And on top of the tricks, the community here is just so great, because we get to learn from each other and become much more educated on classical music and get exposed to many new pieces.
That's a good point because I get exposed to new pieces because the members like are finding these new pieces that I didn't know about. It's just the coolest thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I want to add that is everything Adam said is the reason he was able to go from Clementi sonatinas, not even played well, couldn't even hold the steady tempo, to the Liszt Dante sonata has been performed, and then there's Liszt sonata he's working now and is going into. He's a cyber studies major, and when he finishes that degree, he's going to go into getting his master's in music because of learning in this new way that it's just propelled him like crazy. Just really been, that's why I have the video of Adam on the registration page at for the membership, which I'll drop in the chat in a second. But that's why I have that on there, is because if I just told you, no one would believe me. Like, it seems like she's lying. But so we proved by showing videos of him from a few years ago into this. So great. Emma, feel free to unmute. Thanks.
Yes, I forgot to say this earlier, but honestly, my favorite thing about the membership is like our monthly live things. I love those so much, and especially when Lisa has a guest on. Some of the guests are just fantastic. I love the information that they share. Like the last month, we had a physical therapist on the call, and that was so amazing. Like honestly, we all were blown away by how
Yeah.
much we learned in that one session. So
Cool. So
that's like
we
my
had
favorite
a
thing.
doctor of physical therapy who specializes in working with musicians. He showed us all this hand exercise. He even got on the floor and showed us video of shoulder stretching and like all the like it was just so good. And when you join the membership, you have that. You get access to that. And I haven't even told you, Emma. So this month, I'll tell you tomorrow because I have to confirm it. But we have a really cool guest expert coming. So I just it's 90%. I want to really cool it, but you'll just love it. So it's good to know that you love those guest experts. I don't do that every month, but if you want that, I could. So I just, whatever members want is what I provide too. Exactly. So fantastic. And Mariah, you can stay off camera as I know you're in the Philippines and it's got to be like 4 a.m. I don't know if you stayed up all night or you got up early, but my guess is you stayed up all night. Mariah, are you there? You're laughing. And if you don't feel like unmuting, that's fine too. There you go. Okay.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh no, I'm glad that I'm part of this group. I think it's such a supportive community, and I have so much fun like talking to everyone. And I'm just glad that like we have a very safe space, to ask our questions, to play for each other, all that stuff. Like actually, just the other day, I listened to Scott play. We were like, and because he's actually also preparing for a recital
Recital,
too.
yeah.
So yeah, so we had a lot of fun talking and all that, and I agree with you. I don't think you'd get this anywhere else.
That's so cool. And Mariah's when she first joined, she was in Philadelphia finishing her music degree, but now she's in the Philippines for now, and she's joining us at 4 a.m. So that's how committed she is. So it's fantastic. So for anyone listening later, I will send you the email link where you register, lisaspector.com/membership. We are open for the week. However, I am inviting you in now at the last price we had at 75 a month or 750 a year for 48 hours. And at 48 hours from now, the price is going to go up to 88 a month or 880 a year. And in May, I'm recording all of the Piano Ninja tricks again. I haven't gotten feedback from members. I'm adding in some new ones, and it's going to be in a beautiful, I mean, the hub now is quite beautiful, but it's going to be a more updated, beautiful hub portal that's really easy to use. We have an 85-year-old member who uses it, so anyone can use it. And I will get you that. And if we were going to meet again tomorrow for the